Hello, and thank you so much for tuning in to episode 3 of You-niverse Healing. I am your host, Jessica, and what we will be talking about today is healing. What is healing? Why is it important? And why should anybody do it? So that's what we'll be looking into today. If you have not checked out episode 2, please do so, as we'll touch up on a little bit of that on this episode. So check that out and then come back to this one where we'll just continue from there. So what is healing? Healing can come in various shapes and forms, right? We can look at it on the most physical level, which is that of healing the body, healing the gut, healing, you scrape yourself and you go through the process of healing that scrape or that cut. Let's say you have surgery, you heal from that wound, and then even heal from whatever was going on that required the surgery in the first place. Right? You can look at healing from just a physical aspect of, the body itself. We can even look at healing from a mental point, like healing your traumas or like your insecurities, the things that kind of bog you down, the things that make you react in unfavorable ways that lead you to be a little hurtful to yourself, hurtful to others, whether it's intentional or not. So we can definitely do some healing work on the mental and emotional front, the facing and dealing with processing even these triggers, these traumas, the past that just come back to bite you and just reinforce some of these mental or emotional beliefs, relationships, or what have you, that just keep you down and you just can't get up for whatever reason, right? So you can look at healing in that aspect as well, so that you're not so harsh on yourself or harsh on other people. You could definitely look at it that way. To kind of bridge it together, and what was discussed on episode 2, if you checked it out, if you haven't, please go now. By, healing the body, so like, looking at a microbiome, and taking a greater inspection on the things that we eat and the quality of the things that we eat. They can impact us mentally, emotionally, right? Believe it or not, there's a lot of people that have sensitivities to certain ingredients, and it goes, well, for one, undiagnosed, but 2, like, completely flies over the radar, and we don't make the connections that our bad days might have been caused by going out for a lot of drinks or having a lot of bread or having a lot of processed foods, etc., etc., etc. That affects the way our body processes things. that make their way into our emotions and our mental state, and believe it or not, make us think that the world is, our world in particular, is a lot crappier than what it really is. So, they go hand in hand a lot of the time. And hence, it's important that we enter into the journey that is the healing journey, as cliche as it, or weird as it may sound, oh, I need to heal. It sounds very very new agey, and in some practices it is, but it really kind of isn't. We're all a little damaged a little bit. Life has not been fair for a lot of people. I would say with just about everybody. So we all have a little bit of work to do. Some people have a lot of work to do. I was one of those people that had a lot of work to do. I was 2 cases and a half. So I've been doing this work for quite a while. And like I shared in an episode 2, the most profound work that I could have done for myself is taking ownership for my physical health, the things that I feed myself. At the very least, have it be quality, right? Of whatever that version is. And, the quality of produce and things like that, and where you get it from. But anyhow, they go hand in hand a lot of the time. And it's important that we do this, that we embark this journey, so that we can enjoy life a little bit better. Isn't that what we all kind of want at the end of the day? We all want to live our best lives. And maybe not everyone feels this way, but at least I feel this way. That I want you to live your best life. Ever. I want you to feel so empowered and just so confident and happy with your life that you just naturally, for one, are yourself, but also just kind of have that domino effect going, right? And then you just positively, affect other people as well, because you're feeling really good, right? When you're genuinely feeling really good, you do good things. You make good decisions. You don't think so badly about yourself, etc., etc., etc. Right? So it's very important work to do for yourself, first and foremost. And naturally, as a side effect, it'll impact other people as well. But for you, first and foremost, it's important for your quality of life, right? Your physical health, it's important so that you can live for a while, so that you can be, make it to an elder, be 60, be 70 years old and still able to carry your groceries if you want to. But if you want to have your grandkids do it, hey, no judgment here. But just having the ability to, bring in your groceries, having the ability to even go on a hike if you want to go for a hike, or being able to ride your bicycle if you want to ride your bicycle, being able to do, your most basic things. Your physical health is very important to be able to do that, right? So what you eat, how you treat your body, what you do with it, working out, working it, using it, moving this beautiful body that is giving you the ability to do a whole bunch of things, being able to pick things up. We take all those things for granted until something happens and we can't do that anymore. So it's important to do this work, whether you want to look at it as healing work of the physical or not. You're becoming more whole physically, so that you can keep doing the things that you love to do, right? And keep doing that for many, 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 many years to come, and hopefully until the day that the lights go out, for lack of a better word. That could seem a little dark for some people. a little topic. But then, we'll touch on that another day. How about that? We don't go and talk about that. We're talking about life today. Healing. But yeah. And naturally, doing the healing work, becoming more whole, mentally and emotionally, spiritually, so that you can feel and that you can know that you're living your best life ever, right? Like, you want to wake up every morning, and even if not every morning, you're like, I'm chipper. Like, if you do wake up like that every morning, my hat is off to you. You're living your best life ever. But we have fluctuations in life. Some days we make up, we may wake up more chipper and just hopping right out of bed, and other days where it might take us a little bit, like, oh man, that one situation at work, oh man, that thing that broke down, somewhere in the house, the kitchen, the machines, whatever that need to be dealt with. Oh, what a drag. But you have a positive outlook to it. Like, you know what? We're going to do this. We got to do this, right? Not dwell too much, and hopefully not dwell at all when, unfavorable circumstances and events happen. So that's another reason why it's important to do some of this healing work. Let's see. Why is it important? Yeah, as we've touched up, it's important for you, for your sanity, for your peace, for your well-being. And naturally, it just has this natural byproduct of being good for others as well. Their well-being, their sanity, and things like that. Because for your loved ones, let's just say an example. Let's just say that you tend to be a butthole, and you tend to be a butthole when you eat certain things, and you don't know that you're very sensitive to these things, and you know what, you went ham on whatever these things are, and then either that same day or the next day, you're a complete butthole to deal with. Sucks for your roommate or your spouse or your children, because they caught you in a bad mood in that day. And so kind of like doing that work, let's just say physically it didn't go so hot, but at least, you can enter into mental, emotional aspects and just take in that moment of just chillaxing. Maybe you can brew yourself a tea, or maybe you come to the realization at some point, but even if you don't know that, whatever you ate did you wrong. Maybe you could have some ginger or something, have that moment, those 5 to 10 minutes to yourself, to get yourself right, so that you don't say hurtful things to other people, or you don't say hurtful things to yourself, or you don't say hurtful things about your life. Because at the end of the day, this is your life. You're the one that's creating this. You're responsible for it. You're responsible for your life. You're responsible for your children, if you have any, for your pets, for your plants, your relationships. It's important to maintain healthy relationships, because healthy relationships, and whether or not we want to admit, we need others. We might not need a lot of people. Some people do. But just having some connections, even animals, right? Or your plants. Just having, some sort of connection keeps you well, right? It keeps you, it nourishes you in many ways. So you want to be very kind to those things, and they will definitely be kind back, and you'll even be able to nourish them, and it has a domino effect, right? So it's very important work, mostly for you, but naturally for others as well, so that they don't catch you on one of your bad days. or like your coworker that has a bad day, or your boss. Oh man, everyone just Everyone just focus on their work. Don't make eye contact. Don't make eye contact. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure some of you do. And if you don't, good for you. Let's see. Why should you do it, right? Like, disclaimer, doing healing work, whether it's physical, emotional, mental, what have you, it's not so easy peasy. That's why a lot of people don't do it. Because it's not easy. And sometimes it doesn't feel good. Sometimes it feels like it's the quite opposite. But then you make it to the other side of the rainbow and hey, there's a rainbow. So it is definitely worth it. Even when it doesn't feel so pleasant. Even when you have to face these times and these moments when you don't want to admit that you were a butthole. You would rather point the finger at whoever pissed you off that day and not take ownership that you had something to do with it. Yup. It's a hard pill to swallow for just about almost everybody. And I'm just using the example as a butthole because that's the most easiest example. But, I mean, I'm sure you could fill in the blank. Yeah, so it's very important, and why you should do this work, well, so that, your triggers, your traumas, your insecurities, your low self-esteem no longer keep you down, right? You don't stay in that loop of victimization or, that loop of, shitty thing happens, shitty freaking feedback to yourself, then to others, then creates more of that, shitty circumstance, and then whoop, that becomes a loop. We don't want that. I don't want that for you. I'm pretty sure you don't want that for yourself either. And yes, there is another way. Otherwise, I wouldn't be creating this. So, yeah. There's so much to cover, but I'm going to go ahead and leave it at that for now. Just to leave it as, what it is, why it's important, and why you should do it. On its most fundamental, aspects, at the core of what this healing journey is. It's not always pleasant. Sometimes it can feel very brutal. But over time, like if you do it and like you do it legit, like you genuinely look at yourself in the mirror and have that real talk with yourself, right? You want to be honest with yourself about your situations, about all of these things. But hey, guess what? There's a flip side to it. It's not so bad. And it never really was as bad as you thought it was. Even if though it really was really bad. We're resilient creatures. Really. You're strong. You're resilient. And you're not faced with anything in life that you're not capable of facing. And maybe that might be a hard pill to swallow, but guess what? You're just that strong. But you won't know that unless you were to do some of this healing work. Right? Even on the physical level. Right? When you wind up with a certain disease and things, life seems pretty grim. It feels very tough. But then you make certain lifestyle changes and things like that, and guess what? You start to see improvement. And it doesn't just stop there. It's very holistic, and it all just kind of plays with one another, right? But it's a journey, and it's one that you're never alone in. Countless and countless and countless of people go through similar processes, or even if they're different, on a fundamental level, it is the process of healing. Healing their bodies, healing their minds, their emotions, their connection or lack of connection to spirituality, what have you. We all become a little bit kinder, more understanding. And maybe we'll make a difference in life. Naturally. By making a difference in our own lives, first and foremost. Because it can get very complicated the more out there you go. But that's a whole other topic in and of itself. So anyway, gonna leave it at that. Thank you so much for tuning in to episode 3 of Inner Universe Healing. Again, I'm your host, Jessica, and I look forward to catching you at the next one. Please take care of yourselves, love yourselves, and thank you so much for being so open and willing to doing this work. I honor you, truly. Adios.